What I'm saying is hang on to your stock. So,
I'm not even gonna hold you.
The joint turned on and drove up to her. That's hard.
Yes, bro. She was like sitting there on her phone.
I think I seen a video on that. That's hard.
On her phone, the Tesla was parked. That she pressed a button, that joint came out, went to the stop sign, waited. Then she walked to the car, hopped in the driver's seat, drove off. That's tough. That's tough, bro. Like
I would pay for that.
I would pay for that. That's hard.
That's hard.
Imagine it's raining, bro. Like you know what I mean?
That's hard.
Things. 1. Tesla cars are not equipped with the tech needed to achieve full self-driving. 2. Competitors like Waymo are ahead. Way ahead. Bulls say otherwise.
Tesla's going to be able to produce Cybercabs $30,000-$35,000. Waymos are $240,000 cars. You can't scale them, and they're only in 4 cities. When you look at Cybercab in terms of the fleet concept, producing it at mass, in that concept, their profit. It's a phenomenal business model.
What's up, fam? Welcome back to JRuss TV. If you're new to my channel, we cover all things business, investing, and sneakers. Got my man's Nick with me. We about to get into this next reaction video. It's Tesla and Elon Musk giving up on EVs. I don't know, man. He been hurting the brand. I'm not gonna lie, dealing with politics. I have a small position in Tesla. By the end of the day, Tesla is a robotics company. It's not just a car company. Mm-hmm. It's a robotics company, and they'll blow through this. But at the end of the day, this politics stuff is hurting them, bro. It's hurting them.
And if you peep all these other car brands, they're actually taking over with their own EV space and all that.
Yeah, even self-driving too.
A lot of people been transferring over to them.
Tesla. They've been Tesla. I think this past quarter has been the highest trade-ins of Teslas. They've been cheap, bro. I've been thinking about getting one. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, really?
But
wait, no. The last point you said that
people been trading in.
Really?
Yeah, people been trading the joints in.
I was just thinking about getting.
They've been having stickers. I bought this car before. I knew Elon was crazy. Yeah, people are mad. They've been rioting. They've been blowing up Teslas.
Really?
Burning out factories. Like people mad, bro. With this
I was not sharp.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, bro. But like. They're going for like 25,000 now.
Yeah, cheap.
But insurance is crazy. They're like 300, 330 for insurance. I can't do it. I would. I was thinking about it, but once I saw that, I called. It was like, yeah, it'll be $330 a month for insurance. I was like,
that's insane. What are you paying for?
No, you saving more, but on gas and stuff. Mm-hmm. And maintenance, which is cool, but you just even it back out with the insurance.
Yeah,
it's like, so you're not even saving nothing, bro. Yeah. Let me know what's your opinion on Teslas, whoever in the chat. You a fan of Teslas or what you think? But let's see what they talking about.
Public backlash against CEO Elon Musk's political positions.
Sales are down 50% year over year. China's sales were down 50%.
In the last couple months, though, the stock's just been obliterated.
Less than 6 months ago, Tesla's story was dramatically different. Shares of the company rose 30% in a single week. The once fledgling and often struggling EV maker was worth more than $1 trillion and more than all the world's other major.
Pause it real quick. I want to see that. Go back.
Market cap.
Toyota's number 2. Ferrari's number 4. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they still have the top electric.
I think Lexus is a part of Toyota, I would assume.
EV maker was worth more than $1 trillion and more than all the world's
it might. Yeah, it's not up here.
Interesting.
Bottom. Interesting. I sold out on my Rivian. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? You was big on that.
I was, but the way the market was, it was so many deals, bro. I was like, you're really not going out.
Did you exchange it with something else, or you just sold it?
I sold it and put it in the stock.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was too many good deals, bro. Yeah, like I couldn't. I had like 600, couple thousand in there. Yeah. I was like, I could put this in, Amazon or something. I can, you know what I mean, right now. That's the only reason why I might buy back into it because their stock's still down. So I might buy back into
combined. But in 2025, the stock has plummeted, losing more than 35% of its value since the beginning of the year. In most markets, including the US, China, Europe, and Australia, sales are falling too. While 90% of company revenue comes from selling EVs, Tesla has changed its mission. CEO Elon Musk has sunk billions into projects like self-driving cars and humanoid robots.
The future we're headed for is one where you can literally just have anything you want.
That's what's going to make
the key to that is robotics and AI.
But feelings about the change in direction, or what some call abandoning the company's original mission, are mixed.
Tesla's mission was to advance sustainable transportation and energy. It was never to create robo-taxis and humanoid robots. And that's Elon just changing Tesla's mission. And now I think that Tesla needs a new CEO.
You can say Tesla's a tech company all you want. It's not. It's a car company. And when you don't sell cars, those losses start to stack up.
I truly believe years from now, autonomous will define Tesla.
Half of Tesla vehicles are built in China. He looks at left and right, north, south. He's surrounded by Chinese competition that are driving costs down. There's price wars, and he's saying, no, there's no way Tesla can win this war in China and probably not globally. So let's take.
What's good, fam? Thank y'all for joining. We covering one of his reaction video. Are Elon Musk and Tesla giving up on EVs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What y'all think?
Things in a different direction.
So why do some say the company has lost its way? And can it get back on course? CNBC dove in to find out.
Tesla was founded in 2003 by Mark Tarpenning and Martin Eberhard.
We changed the way the world thought about electric cars, and we restarted the EV revolution in the world.
A year later, Elon Musk invested $6.5 million and joined Tesla's board. In 2006, Musk published the secret Tesla Motors Master Plan. Tesla's overarching purpose was to move the world from fossil fuels to solar and electric power. The plan didn't mention autonomy or robots. The idea was simple: make and sell expensive EVs, use that money to make cheap EVs. In 2014, Tesla began outfitting its vehicles with hardware for a driver assistance system, later called Autopilot. Within a year, it released the software. That's also when Musk said Tesla vehicles would drive themselves within 2 years. Master Plan Part 2 was released 2 years later. It included an entire section on self-driving cars. The plan said, among other things, that owners would be able to make money renting out their Teslas as rideshare vehicles. The New Yorker asked, will the Tesla Model 3 be the first truly self-driving car?
Since 2015, he said that every year, next year. We're now in 2025. There's not one car on the road from Elon Musk picking it up.
Rollouts of autopilot and full self-driving features have repeatedly hit delays. Even then, the cars aren't truly self-driving. The two systems require a driver to be able to take over at a moment's notice. Tesla's
Can you really make a car self-drive? Like, think about it. Just how they just showed that video with a deer in the road, and you got to maneuver that joint, bro.
That's
No,
go ahead.
I was gonna say a human's mind reacts quicker than a computer. Well, not in every case, but in a situation like that, bro, like where you have to dodge a deer. I don't know.
That's where reasoning comes in.
You see
what I was telling you earlier, inference and reasoning. Facts. So to give you another example, so like inference reasoning, what AMD does well in. So say training and then it's inference. NVIDIA is good at training. So if I teach you how to ride a bike, okay, cool, you know how to ride a bike.
Now you got to keep doing it.
But inference reasoning, what AMD does is, what if you go up a hill? What if a deer come in front of you? That's reasoning, and you got to be able to adapt to different scenarios. You know how to ride a bike, but inference AMD is what you got at different scenarios in the market. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother thing that requires a lot of compute.
FSD and autopilot software have landed it in many lawsuits and federal investigations. Neither the DOJ nor Tesla responded to CNBC's requests for comment or an interview. While Musk was promising fully autonomous rentable Teslas, the company was transforming itself into a high-volume electric car maker. Production of the Tesla Model 3, a lower-priced sedan, began in July 2017. A lot of that has paid off. Sales grew 60-fold over a 10-year period. By 2023, the Model Y crossover became the world's best-selling vehicle.
So how are we doing on popularity? Well, we actually literally make the best-selling car on Earth of any kind. So it ends for 2 years in a row.
Tesla shares soared too, although it's been volatile.
Welcome to the ARK Venture Fund.
2 days during Tesla's AI Day investor event, Musk announced that the company would be making a robot. It was a natural move, in Musk's words.
Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robotics company because our cars are like semi-sentient robots on wheels.
Tesla showed off a prototype in 2022. Master Plan 3 focused entirely on sustainable energy.
Master Plan Part 3 is a very long master plan because it's basically making all energy on Earth sustainable.
But since this, more and more attention has focused on robots and autonomous cars. The company released a demo video of Optimus sorting objects. At its We Robot event in late 2024, the company unveiled the Cybercab, a 2-passenger, fully autonomous car planned for production in 2026, the Robovan, a much bigger vehicle, and a dancing robot. Wall Street was underwhelmed, and shares dropped 9% on the day.
We expect to be in production with the Cybercab, but probably, well, I tend to be a little optimistic with timeframes, but in 2026.
Just days later, the company abandoned its plan to make a low-cost EV called.
I think he founded PayPal.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true.
And I think something else maybe, but I think PayPal. What's the big one?
And then after that.
Well, not PayPal. Then I think he used that money to go into something else. I think, and then Tesla. But even with Tesla, you can get venture funding like it's nothing these days. But and then he bought Twitter after that. Then Twitter got bought out by XAI, which is his company. It's a generative AI company. So that's another thing. And so he's smart. He's smart.
Pointless for human drivers. And since Musk has doubled down on his shift.
I've kind of described Master Plan 4 essentially, which is like autonomous cars, autonomous humanoid robots. You combine that with like solar and battery storage, and I think the future is going to be incredible.
Now this year, he actually has to deliver FSD. And let me be the first to tell you, he's not going to deliver.
If you go back to the history of Musk and Tesla, there's been many times no way they can do it. Impossible. I'm not saying it is going to be hard to get there, but I truly believe years from now, autonomous will define Tesla.
Tesla is supposed to launch unsupervised full self-driving as a paid service in June 2025.
The technology does not work. He uses camera only. Every other car that is driverless on the road right now uses LiDAR and radar. Tesla does not. It just fundamentally doesn't work.
After spending a lot of time watching Waymo and being in Waymos, I've decided that the hardware.
Waymo is another competitor too. They owned by Google, so they're doing self-driving. Uber's doing self-driving.
Everybody.
So it's going to be a lot of competitors.
It's sufficient to occur in Tesla.
Musk has acknowledged some of the challenges.
The honest answer
is that we're
going to have to upgrade people's hardware 3 computer for those that have bought full self-driving, and that is the honest answer. And that's going to be painful and difficult, but we'll get it done.
But Musk says that LiDAR, a technology that uses lasers to measure distances and construct pictures of an environment, still isn't necessary or even good for autonomous vehicles.
If anybody could do it, given the massive amounts of data that Tesla has to feed into these AI models and the progress they've made, and every iteration that we've seen of FSD, we've experienced with FSD at Tesla, it's better. So there are always people out there saying it's never going to work without LiDAR. We think it will.
I believe they can get there without LiDAR.
Yeah, we haven't even
I'm not saying
thought about that yet. That's another issue. Like, okay, so self-driving does come available. What happens when you hit somebody or you like unallow somebody? It's like that's only a lawsuit in itself.
Get to the last mile, you might not need some LiDAR, but I think the biggest thing over Tesla is.
Well, I saw Shorty at the gym, standing outside. I'm like, why is she sitting there? Tesla automatically just pull out, and then she just walked to it. I was like, that's hard.
No, that's hard.
Like, that's OC.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's OC.
That's hard.
I'm not even gonna hold you.
The joint turned on and drove up to her. That's hard.
Yes, bro. She was like sitting there on her phone.
I think I seen a video on that. That's hard.
On her phone, the Tesla was parked. That she pressed a button, that joint came out, went to the stop sign, waited. Then she walked to the car, hopped in the driver's seat, drove off. Wow. That's tough. That's tough, bro. Like
I would pay for that.
I would pay for that. That's hard.
That's hard.
Imagine it's raining, bro. Like you know what I mean?
That's hard.
The miles driven, the data that's unprecedented.
Even if the hardware works, bearish analysts say Tesla is behind competitors. Google's self-driving arm, Waymo, does 200,000 rides a week in 4 cities, with more on the way.
What he's about to deliver is basically the same thing that Waymo offered 10 years ago.
So bearish investors basically think 2 things. 1, Tesla cars are not equipped with the tech needed to achieve full self-driving. 2, competitors like Waymo are ahead, way ahead. Bulls say otherwise.
Tesla's going to be able to produce Cybercabs $30,000-$35,000. Waymos are $240,000 cars. You can't scale them, and they're only in 4 cities. When you look at Cybercab in terms of the fleet concept, producing it at mass, in that concept, their profit, it's a phenomenal business model.
Michael Dunn has studied China's EV revolution closely and says the move to robotics may be the US's only chance to compete.
If we go all in on electrics today, we cannot compete with China. And I think the current administration has made it clear that electrics are not a priority, that we'll bide our time. And the hope is that American companies will innovate and be able to capture that next wave of what a vehicle of the future looks like in order to compete with the Chinese. For example, autonomy, Waymos and Teslas and NVIDIA's powering really amazing vehicles of the future, moving away from EVs to AVs and robotics.
But even if Tesla gets the tech right, skeptics say the business case isn't there. If one of these companies, much less 4 or 5, figure out how to make fully autonomous robotaxis at scale, they could pack the streets of every city with them.
There's no limit to how many robotaxis Google can make, because they don't need humans. So they can just like keep making more and more and more of these things. And so what happens is that as this is deployed on mass scale, pricing comes down and the scale players will be profitable, but it'll be like Amazon where you have a small profit margin and you have to have large scale.
There's also more to running a rideshare business than just driving the car.
You replace the cheapest part of the system, which is a minimum wage driver, by a very, very expensive technology. And you need to hire many people around it to replace the driver, because the driver was also the guy who cleaned the car, also doing safety.
Then there's valuations.
There's no estimates for these growth verticals that they're going to go into. And you need to have more estimates for how much robotaxi revenue they're going to generate. And those estimates don't even exist. So what are we comparing it to? There's no benchmark or ruler out there that we can say, I can say, oh, well, consensus thinks they'll do 50 million in robotaxi revenue in 2029. I think they'll do 75 million. So I think that this stock is a buy. There's literally no estimates.
So 3 hurdles to clear. Tesla needs autonomous tech. They need to be at least as good as Waymo or anyone else. They have to make money in what could be an extremely low margin business, if it's a business worth doing in the first place. Then there are the robots.
So this year, we hopefully will be able to make about 5,000 Optimus robots. We're technically, we're aiming for enough parts to make 10,000, maybe 12,000.
So the idea that we're going to have some robot that's super useful that can do all these things for us anytime soon is a fantasy. It's just a sci-fi fantasy. When basic things like the Roomba are still struggling to like wash our floors, and then the longer-term business of building robots is a highly competitive business with no real market yet. So selling consumer robots to me is like a pie in the sky.
If you're uninsured, you could have rough waves ahead.
I bet.
You have to lease them. I don't think they're going to sell them.
Really?
They're like leasing them, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm an activist investor, and I still think Tesla has the best products and services.
But those products and services, he says, are the EVs, energy storage devices like power walls, even the solar roofs, which Musk once gave as much attention to as the products he is touting today.
Tesla is losing market share, big part because they are not pursuing the lower cost model. Absolutely a strategic mistake, and maybe it's not the US market, it's the global market that really asked for this car.
Ford and GM can't compete at all with these Chinese companies, at all. The only real competitor to the Chinese companies is Tesla, but they haven't been able to introduce a lower price point car, and they're losing that share of the market very quickly to the Chinese.
Musk's public reputation is deteriorating, and the backlash against him is hurting Tesla.
Yeah. I can't walk past the TV without seeing a Tesla on fire. You're like, what's going on? Hey. Some people, it's like, listen, I understand if you don't want to buy our product, but you don't have to burn it down. That's a bit unreasonable, Like, this is psycho. Stop being psycho.
Bad news for him is he's only got one way for him to go now, which is down. So this honeymoon of, I don't know, what was it, a month? It's over. And if the board of directors actually did what was best for Tesla and had a real CEO and refocused its image on what it really does well, which is make EVs and batteries and charging, and really did that business, it's an incredibly important company for the future.
The challenge with simply returning to EVs is that if Tesla is merely an automaker, its share price may be way too high.
Tesla's a very expensive auto OEM compared to the growth you're getting, compared to the margins you're getting. And I think they benefited from a unique moment in time when people had a lot of discretionary income. Oil was more expensive because the Russia-Ukraine war was starting, and they sold a lot of EVs at very high margins.
It trades over 105 times earnings, which is not only expensive to the overall market, but that's even more expensive than its own historical average. So I think for all those reasons, whether I find another place to add my money or I wait for a better entry point, I would not jump in with 2 feet at Tesla right now.
If you're buying Tesla because they sell EVs to you and to the public, the stock's overvalued, we think, right? If you're buying it because there's a very large growth opportunity in their energy storage and generation business, and there's a very large growth opportunity in Optimus and FSD and robotaxi, then the stock really can work.
This stock is a maniacal retail investor base. It's basically, it's a cult, right? And so how do you deprogram a cult? What causes that to happen? I don't know. But it's a cult that's made a lot of money, which is even harder to think about when it ends.
What I'm saying is hang on to your stock. So